What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to take a look at some exclusive French One Piece cards. Yeah, that's right. France are getting some One Piece cards that we haven't got yet, so I'm going to run through what they are quickly in this video and recommend to you that you make friends with people over in France, because they're going to be able to hook you up with these, hopefully, and you can hook them up with cards that they don't get, and then everybody gets happy trading cards and being happy, which I think is a good thing. Starting off with this Luffy, which I had to go and double check this. I'm fairly sure this hasn't come out in English yet, which is wild to me. Seems really weird that this one hasn't come out in English, but it hasn't. We have had other versions of this card, but we haven't had this print of it. It's coming out at the Cannes Festival over in France, not the movie one, the game one, and it's actually originated from the annual, the little annual they do every year for the One Piece TCG, where you get a little anniversary book. It's very cool, where you get yourself a book with all the card images for the year, and then you get yourself a couple of promos as well. Yeah, this was in there, and I think that's kind of awesome, honestly. So go team, we get this one, and I think it's rather lovely. It's just your vanilla Luffy 10 cost 12k counter plus 1,000. There is a decent chance we end up getting this one at some point, but I've had a look on the official card finder on the website, and I cannot remember any tournament where we've got it. I think this might actually be a card we haven't had yet, but they're getting it in France, so find someone who's going to Cannes and get a bit of a trade going. Could be fun. Now, there's a couple of weird cards they're getting, I believe in Promo Pack Volume 0. Although it's really hard on the website to find out exactly where these are being given out. The website is not exhaustive like I was hoping. But we got ourselves Smoker and Lin Lin. And when you look at these cards, they're going to initially look pretty familiar. They're going to look very much like cards we've seen before. The Smoker is from Starter Deck 6, but let's put Smoker here next to Starter Deck 6 Smoker, and you will notice that they're not exactly the same. They're very similar cards. They do the same thing, but actually this is a slightly different version of the artwork. They've taken the super rare border off and extended the art properly, and it just looks cooler. Very similar kind of card. Same card, same basic art and all of that, but they've just made it look cooler. And we've got a very similar thing going on here with the Charlotte Lin Lin from Starter Deck 7, the first yellow starter deck, where it is in essence the same card. It does the same thing. It's got the same basic artwork, but they've taken the border off, the super rare border, and extended it into proper artwork. And I've made no secret of the fact that I think Basai is the second best artist working in the One Piece TCG today, after Akira Egawa, obviously, and this just gives you a better look at their artwork. This is cool. I don't know why they've chosen these two random cards, one from the first black starter deck, one from the first yellow starter deck, and honestly, like, you know, the iconic super rare cards from those decks, and then extended them out like this. But I'm not upset about it, ladies and gentlemen. I am not upset about it. This is incredibly cool. And they've done a very similar thing with the newer set of 6 starter decks. So let's take Tashigi as an example. I like Tashigi. Tashigi is cool like Smoker is cool. And what we've got here is we've got 2 different cards. I believe they're Dash Pack Volume 1 and 2. Not 100% sure on these, but I believe that's where we are. And if you have a look at Tashigi there, you've got a first edition, or premier edition, but my French is terrible, which is very much first edition in French. And you'll notice that the 2 Tashigi are basically the same kind of card, except one has taken off the border and made it a lovely full art card, which it happens a lot with One Piece where they do this, and basically every time they do it, it just looks extremely cool. And you'll notice this is the Tashigi from Starter Deck 19, which is the Black Smoker starter deck. And actually, it's very similar to what we just saw. Now, weirdly enough, the regular version they've actually taken off the super rare border to give it kind of like a white border with the art bleeding over it, which is a bit weird, but kind of cool. And then obviously the first edition stamp. But then the other version of it, they've actually gone and made it all full art, still with a first edition stamp. And these are incredibly cool cards. And I love that Bandai have done it this way in France. What they've basically said is, hey France, we know you've had to wait like a couple of years to get your cards in French. Sorry about that. So as we release it in French, why don't we give you some really cool exclusive cards? But they're not mechanically unique. They are just cool versions of existing cards. Nobody outside of France is going to be at any kind of disadvantage for not having these cards or anything silly like that. But they are cool versions of cards that you're probably going to want. And oh, look how that worked out. I adore this. I think it is wonderful. And, you know, Tashigi on play, if your leader is Smoker, give one of your opponent's characters -4 cost for the turn. And activate main once per turn. If this character was played this turn, trash an opponent's character with a cost of 0. It's an on-play skill that isn't technically an on-play skill. It means you can use it with Martial Teach, obviously. So what other cards have we got? Well, we got one from each of those starter decks. So over in purple, we've got Luffy Taro. It's actually a pretty cool card. Has seen some play. And again, we've got two versions of it. We've got the first edition stamped with a white border but with the art bleeding over. And then we've got the no border version, which just looks absolutely phenomenal. And I absolutely love it. And it's a very cool card. On play, Don -1. Play a purple Straw Hat Crew with a cost of 5 or less from your hand. It's a cool card. I like it. Could well see play in future. If you're a Charlotte Linlin fan, good and bad news, because we've got the Charlotte Linlin from Starter Deck 20, your Katakuri deck. And the reason it's good and bad news is, on the one hand, there are now 2 more cool versions of Charlotte Linlin to collect. Yay! And then on the other hand, you've now got to try and search out these other 2 versions of Charlotte Linlin that were only released in France, which you might be cool with. And if you are, yay! But please kind of bear in mind that this could get a little bit annoying. I should say this is the version of Linlin whereby on play, trash a card from their hand, and either your opponent trashes 2 cards from their hand, or trashes a card from the top of their life. And actually, they do get the choice, but obviously it's one of those situations where you want to play it where they've got like a 2-card hand, so either they lose a life or they're in top deck mode. Either way, you can hopefully make this into a super annoying card. Over in green, we got ourselves a Shanks. This is obviously the Shanks from the green Uta deck. Another super rare that came around there. Same 2 versions of the card that we've seen from all the others. And this is on play KO arrested character. 9 cost, 11k, no counter, and just KO arrested character on play. Gotta be potential with that card. There has got to be. Plus, it's film, and it's 4 Emperors, and it's red-haired pirates, so they're making it easy to use. We have ourselves Ace from the red deck. That is, of course, the Newgate deck. And exactly the same as all the others, they've taken a super rare and made these 2 new versions of it. It's got Rush if your leader's a Whitebeard pirate. And once per turn, if it would be removed from the field by an opponent's effect, you can take -2k power instead. So Rush and survivability. And then probably the best of them is the Boa Hancock from the Doflamingo deck, because Doflamingo is one of the best decks around right now, and this is a very much a card which is played in it. 4 cost, 6k with blocker, and on play, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, rearrange them at the top or bottom of your deck, and then give a rested Don to one of your 7 Warlords of the Sea leader or characters. Obviously busted in a Doflamingo deck, plus Boa Hancock is very popular, and now we got 2 new cool versions of it. So we got the Luffy, we've got the Shanks and Linlin, and then we've got 1 card from each of this set of 6 starter decks with 2 different finishes and the first edition stamp. That's, what's 15 cards if anybody's counting? 15 cards that France has got that we haven't. And they're all fancy versions of existing cards. Nothing mechanically unique. Nothing is going to give players in France an advantage or any of that. but very cool cards, and I adore it. So yeah, get excited if you're in France, because French One Piece has gotten awesome. Right, there we go. That's what you need to know. And now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about this. Tell me if you're excited. Tell me if you're going to be trying to trade with lovely folks over in France. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourself till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.